Heyo everybody, Haku here with the second part of Magical Girl Raising Project Restart Chapter 8, or I guess Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku. I normally say both titles, both languages, whatever. But either way, so it looks like we're finally at this center room within the castle of the Demon Lord, and we're close to seeing who the Demon Lord is, probably. One thing I thought of between videos is I was like, oh my god, what if they're all the Demon Lord? What if they were all given the option, either survive and defeat the end of the game or whatever, or, like, this makes no sense, or kill all the rest of them. Like, it made no sense, it was just a quick thought I had. Who I think it is, Rianetta seems sketchy, and I think because of the statues and everything that they said were there, I'm like, oh, statues and stuff. Rianetta controls them. It sounds like it's going to be her. Yeah, I don't know how much I like that, though. I think, to me, it would be a lot more impactful if the Demon Lord was somebody like Pechka, or, who else? Who else would I think would be good? Somebody that we've seen from their perspective or close to their perspective a lot, so that we're really, really invested in them, and to find out that they've been the traitor right in front of us all along. Or like Detek Bell would be another one that would have been really good, because it would have hit fans like, I trusted you, Detek, why? But something like Rianetta, I feel like we don't, and I'm just singling out Rianetta, it could still be plenty of others, but somebody like Rianetta, and I'm using Rianetta as the example because she's probably the girl we know the least about out of the main cast that's left, I would say. So, yeah, just somebody like that, I don't feel like there's as much of a connection to feel as betrayed. But either way, we'll see how things go. Let's read the rest of this, and getting nervous for all the characters because I like all of them. And there are only 3 chapters left after finishing this one up, and 10 girls left. And we should know, by the way, that 14 out of 16 in the first season first arc didn't make it. So out of the 16 here, I am not feeling good for these remaining 10 and how those numbers may change. Because we know, I guess, if they kill whoever the Demon Lord is, and the Demon Lord could always make a good guy flip and turn on the Master and help them defeat the Master. That's a possibility I've seen for a while, but like, that means at least one of them's gonna die, and I'm not ready for even one to die, because it's not like Arc 1, where there were girls I disliked, and like if Swim or the Peaky Angels would have died at any time, I would have been happy about it. I was happy about it when it happened, but with this, there's no girl I'll be happy to see die. But either way, let's move on. The only girl who was even kind of a dick, I guess, was like Cherna Mouse or maybe Akane, but we don't know anything about Akane either way. And even then, I didn't really want to see him die. But either way, let's move along. We're starting out on page 21 for those of you reading along with me at the scene break where it says nokko-chan, because that's where we left off. And they just opened the doors to that room, and there were plastic-made robots standing side by side. Okay. The knights had huge dragon-like horns and looked like giant reptiles. Just like what reptiles used for balance, they had giant tails as well. They reminded Nokko-chan of Nyan, but the knights didn't react to Nokko-chan's reaction. Their faces were covered in shadowy helmets, so she couldn't see their expressions. From their backs were large swords that they unsheathed. The robots were soaring in the air. On their backs were something that looked like backpacks, and from there jets of fire shot out. Both their eyes were red, and it was clear why they were made of plastic. They looked completely artificial. When they spread both their hands and their legs in the air, something small came out of their backpacks, with white smoke coming straight toward her. So they fire missiles by spreading their arms and legs. Missiles? Nokko-chan held her shield diagonally and placed her knees on the marbles, preparing for a shock. She felt a blast and vibrations. White smoke surrounded her forehead. Someone seemed to have stopped it. Just then, something pierced through the white smoke. The previous robot was stationary and looked this way. Running around with a shield as she tried to change direction, she heard shouting from behind her. "They're demon knights and hell clowns. Their attributes are normal. Their weaknesses and special attacks are also normal. So they aren't evil then. Flea, who was reading off the monster picture book was attacked and bumped into Nokko-chan. Nokko-chan rolled forward with her shield, somehow managing to point it upwards, at the same time receiving a wave of heat and a shock, blowing her back towards the wall. While Flea was frowning, she was holding on to her carpet and didn't fall off of it. She dropped her monster picture book and continued to shout without looking at it. They don't have any special attacks or weaknesses. We can beat them normally. Inside the thick white smoke there was a thin black figure. It was raising something up. Nokko-chan raised her shield and took the brunt of the attack. Her arms went numb. She blocked the second attack, and the third attack her arms were at her limit and she dropped the shield. She heard the clanging sound of her shield rolling, and Nokko-chan jumped sideways. The marble floor was sliced clean open, showing the sharpness of the knight's sword. The white smoke began to clear. As Nokko-chan began to stand up from her knees, she saw an amazing sight. Lazaline was fighting with the knights. Melville was also aiming her harpoons at the robots in the sky. Nako and her dragon surrounded 2 knights, while Rionetta and Clantail were protecting Pechka from 3 knights. Detic Bell and Shadowgale continued to be pushed back, unable to attack, while Flea held her shield up on her carpet, constantly receiving attacks over and over, but unable to escape as well. Okay, that sounds really badass. That would be really cool if we ever get a second season of the show. There were as many enemies as there were magical girls. Each one of the enemies were stronger than any foe they faced in the other areas, with the exception of the great dragon. The knight's blades were heavy and powerful. There was no way Nokko-chan could outrun them. Even now her arms were numb and she couldn't move. Nokko-chan, who had no shield anymore, was being pursued by the enemy. There was no way for her to escape, was there? No, she couldn't escape. The enemy was closing in. The knight's sword was big and long. Nokko-chan wildly swung... Damn it. Nokko-chan wildly swung her mop and managed to hit the enemy's body while it managed to forcefully change the trajectory of its swing. The shock of the hit caused Nokko-chan to fall, her shoulder colliding with the floor. Furthermore, there was no way for her to avoid another attack. She used her mop as a shield this time. The weapon +7 mop that she bought with a high amount of candy was bent from just that one attack. Rip mop +7. The screams became louder. It was Pechka. Nokko-chan wanted to close her ears. What she wanted to hear now wasn't screaming. In her heart, Nokko-chan felt the need to destroy all her enemies with a large, offensive will, fierce battling. She filled her heart with a fighting spirit to protect her friends and spread that motion around. If she had time to scream, she could kill at least one enemy. She spread those thoughts around as well. She stood up. She clashed her bent mop with the sword, of course. Of course, with how it is now, it easily bounced off. Their strengths were different, but even if the mop was defeated, she continued to hit with it. Nokko-chan, so badass with her little mop. I won't be so easily defeated, will I? She thought to herself as she spread those thoughts around her. With a shielded hand, Pechka joined the battle. As Rionetta and Clantail didn't have to protect her anymore, their jobs were easier. Clantail took out her magical phone and activated it. Multiple spears appeared around her, piercing the marble floor. She transformed her lower body into a giant octopus and held a spear in each tentacle, fighting the knights one by one. Nokko-chan couldn't even see which ones she was fighting just by looking at it. In the meantime, Nokko-chan kept thinking, fight, fight, fight. Melville aimed her harpoon at a missile without avoiding it, and as it exploded, the robot's boosters were also destroyed. The robot lost its balance and became stunned. With blood dripping from her head, Melville shot another harpoon, completely destroying the robot's head. But the robot that should be destroyed got back up again, but she had no idea what it was thinking, because it turned on the knight. Nokko-chan was confused, however. It looked like Rionetta had been manipulating it. Lazaline roundhouse kicked the knight toward a wall, and Lazaline soon rushed after it, hitting it from right and left. Its thick metal armor soon crushed apart. The knight raised its sword up, aiming at Flea, but Flea jumped off from her carpet, wrapping her arms around the knight's neck and twisting it upside down. another knight, was unable to handle the cooperation attack between Nako and her dragon, and dropped its sword, kneeling to the floor. Detic Bell and Shadowgale also managed to fend off their attackers. At this rate, it was certain that help was soon coming. While nokko-chan grasped her mop, she was relieved. The fallen knights, every part of their armor was torn apart and had fallen as well. The robots were also just piles of plastic and iron. All were piled up in the side of the room after 2 hours. After 2 hours they disappeared. "I can't believe these aren't animals yet again," said Nako angrily. "Well then, is everyone ready?" Everyone healed up, whether they suffered large injuries or small injuries. For people like nokko-chan who had broken their weapons, they borrowed from others who had any surplus. Everyone replenished their weapons to full power. You could even hear the sound of Melville pulling on her bowstring. Man, that was really, really awesome. That was really good. The room where the robots and knights were piled up was a 10-meter square room with around 4 sides, with a door continuing onward. The door was slightly smaller than the entrance of this room, but its decoration was exquisite. The face of an anguished person was engraved into the metallic door, its shining black metal contrasting with the white marble. Poisonous, heavy, ominous. They checked their map of the area. This door leads to a dead end in the Demon Lord's castle, meaning that opening this door would take them to their goal. Lazaline examined the door and then raised her hand, making a circle. "There's no traps and it's not locked. We can open it normally." "Wonderful. Well then, everyone in positions." High combat magical girls were in front, followed by magical girls without combat abilities, and maybe magical girls who would rather run away too. And finally, the long-range attacker, Melville, was at the back. "Be prepared. You are all powerful. However, we don't know the strength of this Demon Lord. It will also be powerful. If you see no way of victory, then we must retreat with full power. Otherwise, we will be completely annihilated." Fla watched over Clantail, who was opening the door ahead slowly. There were no fancy ornaments inside the room. In the white marble room there was only a chair. Like a game or a cartoon, it was a fancy chair suitable for a king to sit on, more appropriately called a throne. Nokko-chan saw Pechka, who was next to her. Pechka had an expression of confusion, as if she was looking at an unsolvable mystery. Clantail and Lazaline carefully went inside, and the other magical girls followed behind them. Nothing was awakened when they entered the room, so the magical girls' movements gradually became bolder. They moved more freely. Still nothing happened. The only thing in the room was the sound of the magical girls walking around. "Wait a minute. There's something written behind the chair." On the marble back of the chair there were words engraved on it. Fla started up her translator-kun. The words read, "The Demon Lord is absent. They were afraid of being chased by 15 magical girls all over the game. Please come back later." "What?" Fla touched the throne. "When the players have reached the Demon Lord's throne, they've fulfilled the conditions for their memory restoration. Furthermore, the monster's morale has arisen due to the Demon Lord being in crisis. From now on, all monsters have leveled up." Their magical phones rang, and the above message appeared on the screen. In short, the monsters will become stronger, but no one had any idea what's going on. "Where's the Demon Lord?" Clantail muttered out loud, but no one answered her question. So all the monsters have gotten stronger now, and they fulfilled the conditions for memory restoration. So wait, maybe all of them have lost their memory of something? And, maybe, you know how I've been saying from the beginning I think they're all children of Clanberry? Maybe they all do kind of know each other from that, but they don't remember that they know each other? I don't know. Either way, there's something going on with their memories here. So now we're moving to Pechia. Let me grab some water before I continue, though. It looks like Fall's coming in, just glancing at some of these lines, and I felt like Fall would as well, just to explain what's going on here. I was expecting this to turn into a fight against whoever the Demon Lord was. Unless the Demon Lord isn't one of these 10, and it is like what I was thinking, maybe Yameno Shiba. I don't know, or Daisy. Like, for some reason, Yumenashima and Daisy have not left my mind as possibilities, even though we've clearly seen them die, but then again, we thought we had seen Yumenashima die before and she was here somehow, so there's still some kind of explanation for that. But I'll continue on. We're at Pechka now, and on page 26. Everyone investigated the throne, but they couldn't find anything. Even if they explored the Demon Lord's castle, there were no hint messages anywhere. Naturally, not even the Demon Lord was here. Everyone was confused, everyone was angry. Suddenly, their prize was being taken away from them. If they just reached this goal, they could have finished the game. Yet in this room, their goal had literally ran away. Flett turned on her magical phone and she contacted Fall. Before she even asked him a question, Fall was already upset, sprinkling a variety of golden powder as he bobbed right to left. The Demon Lord should be here, Pone. There shouldn't be nothing here, Pone. But the reality is that there is no Demon Lord. That shouldn't be possible, Pone. It's a game-clearing condition to defeat the Demon Lord, Pone. Fall flipped his body 3 times vertically in the air, the black and white, spherical body sprinkling its golden powder everywhere, made him nearly invisible. Poor Fall, he is angry little cupcake. Okay, moving on. It's somewhere, it's still out there, Pone. Perhaps somewhere far from this area, Pone. So let me ask this again. There's no way in this game that there isn't a Demon Lord, correct? Correct. There has to be a Demon Lord, Pone. That's the conditions made to clear the game when this game was first made, Pone. Nako, Rionetta, and Pechka were all sitting on a chair in the library area. Both Nako and Rionetta's expressions were dark. Even Pechka had a desperate look on her face. They couldn't find the Demon Lord. They desperately wanted to clear the game, but the final boss was nowhere to be found. Currently, the magical girls are searching in all the areas to see if they've overlooked something. Clantail wasn't here with her low combat ability team. Nako, Rionetta, Pechka, and Nako's pet dragon formed up to make a team, and they were in charge of searching the library area. Oh, splitting up was not smart if one of them's a traitor. The library area was pretty narrow. In addition, because they've spent a long amount of time searching for red books, it was an area that they knew very well. What more were they supposed to find? They kicked down bookshelves and desks and even searched for hidden doors and rooms, but they couldn't find anything. Just trash in the library. They searched, they fought monsters, and all it gave them was just fatigue. The 3 of them sat down on chairs, sighing together. I wonder if he's nowhere at all. Rionetta was talking with no one in particular. Maybe there isn't a Demon Lord in the game. Maybe we're being ordered to defeat an enemy that doesn't even exist. An impossible order to fulfill. Maybe that's what's going on. But Fall said that there must be a Demon Lord somewhere. Do you honestly give him that much trust? Rionetta slammed the table. It was an old leaning table, and with that slam she single-handedly broke it apart. Dust and wood chips scattered everywhere, and Rionetta kicked away the remains of the table. Part of the table crashed to a bookshelf, causing many books to fall to the floor. Pechka lightly shrieked, but closed her mouth. Rionetta was being extremely angry, but if Pechka screamed, would she get even more angry? Her bravery had reached its limit, so she didn't want to scream anymore. Pechka was just as tired as her too. The absence of a Demon Lord was heartbreaking, but she was still shocked when someone was as angry as her. Pechka usually cowardly avoids any argument like this, but it won't work with everyone. Shut up. Huh? What will your shouting and kicking solve? And what's with your bossy attitude? Negative thinking. Nothing good comes out of that. Oh, I sincerely apologize. Please do suggest something good that we can do. Perhaps you know where the Demon Lord is, and we can all be rescued valiantly from this damned place. You're doing it again. Rionetta stood up. You know, I loathe the way you always emphasize the things you say. Miyakata Nanako, not wanting to lose, also stood up. Are you complaining about my personality? That's your personality? You possess a very shallow character, if I do say so myself. I've had it. I've had enough of this girl's constant talking. Rionetta grabbed Nako's chest vest. My patience has reached its limit. There's no telling if it can further handle this. So has my patience as well. The two's voices got louder as they continued rising. Petchka wanted to close her ears, but she couldn't. She couldn't even stop this. She couldn't even cry. She could only wiggle on her chair that was about waist high. Rionetta tightened the grip from her right arm on Nako's vest. Nako grasped Rionetta's right arm and tried to stop her. Rionetta grasped Nako's arm with her own left arm, both of them getting their faces closer to each other. And then they kiss. just kidding. Moving along. Nako's dragon was barking. It was different from how a bird would screech or how a beast would bark. It was a bark that they've heard many times in the underground area, a voice of anger. The dragon screeched, spread its green wings, and jumped. It opened its mouth, revealing rows of sharp fangs. It lunged towards Rionetta's right arm and chomped down on it. Nako was surprised, and Rionetta was surprised at the same time. Screaming loudly as well, she swung her right arm, but the dragon clung on. Nako ordered the dragon to stop, but the dragon didn't seem to be listening to her. The dragon, who was still biting on Rionetta's arm, had its head slammed to a bookshelf, yet the dragon still clung on. In fact, its jaws became tighter and tighter. The girls could hear what seemed to be cracking sounds coming from Rionetta's arm. Rionetta screamed. From her left arm, claws popped out. Petchka got off her chair. Nako jumped ahead as if to stop what was going to happen. However, they didn't make it. Just like what she's done in the underground area over and over, Rionetta sliced the dragon's throat with her claws. The weapon that she's using now was higher than the weapon she used in the underground area, so the hard scales of the dragon were torn like paper. Skin, muscle, fat, blood vessels, all of them were deeply damaged. The depth of the wounds were very visible. Just for a moment, the dragon began bleeding from its wounds. The dragon fell on the floor. Nako began crying as she activated her magical phone, trying to use the healing medicine, but it wasn't working. Rionetta looked much worse than Nako with her damaged arm. She looked towards Nako as she lowered her magical phone. Her right sleeves were torn apart, exposing her forearms. I guess just singular, then? Her right sleeve was torn apart, exposing her forearm, with a number of holes similar to the number of fangs on the dragon, cracks also showing through. She looked like a broken and abandoned doll. Petchka? Because Petchka thought Rionetta seemed like an abandoned doll, her voice also sounded empty. She seemed to be talking to Petchka, but it sounded like she was talking to herself. Would you come with me? Rionetta turned her head around to face Petchka. She should be looking at Petchka, but her eyes reflected nothing. I've never lived an honest life. I'm not a respectable person, and I'm in no position to invite anyone along. However, Petchka bit her lip. What should she do? She didn't know what to say. There was no wind that blew. She tried to find words that wouldn't hurt herself if she spoke, but none came to mind. The words that she said may hurt someone, but she didn't have the courage to say it. The courage that she felt when she was fighting the knights and the robots at the Demon Lord's castle was gone. And now we see Rionetta with her arm all jacked up. Poor Rionetta. Don't feel that bad for the dragon, though, because dragon killed Goblin-kun. Poor Goblin-kun. Rionetta has gotten revenge for it. She answered neither yes nor no. Petchka simply looked back at her with tears in her eyes, and Rionetta smiled softly with no power on her. Farewell. Rionetta turned away from Petchka. She could see red splashes on her back. From her claws, red liquid was also dripping. The smell of blood was drifting from her body. Wait just a minute, Nako shouted out towards Rionetta, who was trying to leave on foot. How could you do something like this? You think you can just run away from something unforgivable like this? Rionetta didn't stop. Beyond the fallen chair, she continued to walk. I will sue you! I demand compensation! Nako was crying, and her face was red. Because she was holding her dragon just before, blood was dripping from her face to her shrine maiden outfit. Rionetta didn't stop. She staggered as she walked. Fucking doll, Nako cried out loudly. It seemed like she wanted to kick, hit, and beat up Rionetta, and while she didn't stop, Petchka recognized a black shadow reaching out to Rionetta. Behind you! Petchka shouted out toward Rionetta, who was walking only with a stagger. She reacted to the demon's attack, sitting on a chair that was out of sight. Whether it was because she sat on it in a hurry, the chair began shaking heavily. Rianetta was trying to retain her balance and swung her arms up. The reason she had her arms swinging upward in the chair upward was that chair. The chair that Rianetta was sitting on began to transform into a black angel, swapping its body, staggering Rianetta, pushing her on top of a carpet. The spirit transformed itself into a chair. This area's enemies have never done anything like that before. They were straightforward, with a noticeable attack pattern. They can transform, but they usually transform into living creatures. Speaking of which, the chair where Rianetta sat was far away. The spirit had already transformed in advance and waited. So, did the other spirit time its attack together? Pechika ran towards Nako. The spirit attacked Rianetta, and another spirit kicked Rianetta in the face. They kicked it as if they were kicking a soccer ball, once, twice, and on the third kick a terrible sound of wood breaking could be heard. They finally raised their feet when Nako arrived, thrusting her gohei forward, but the stabbing weapon was grabbed by a black palm. A spirit phased through the bookshelf and appeared in front of Nako. Now there was no one stopping the spirit's soccer ball kicks. Rianetta's head was swaying, the bonnet covering her head flying away. Pechika moved her hands down toward her neck, gripping the holy amulet. With this, Pechika can do damage and raise her attacking power. Pechika swung her frying pan. The spirits avoided Pechika's attacks, trying to use Nako's body to make her stop. The spirits were able to pass through objects. It didn't matter if it was a human body. The spirit's body began to cover Nako's entire body. Nako frantically flailed her gohei, but it didn't hit. Thanks to the spirit's body, her visibility was completely blocked. So this was kind of a trap all along. I wonder if the other girls are having similar problems. Because the upgrade of all the enemies, this seems like it was trapped in order for this to happen all ahead of time. It really seems like all of this was not really planned, but pretty much set up. They were just waiting for somebody to sit in that chair, and now they have the ability to just completely demolish them combat-wise. Now, given this group is probably the weakest combat-wise, but still. Let me grab some water, my throat's getting dry. But it's looking like Rianetta's not going to make it, and I'm really worried about Miyakata and Pechika, because they both look like they're in a lot of trouble as well. Pechika swung her frying pan. The spirits avoided Pechika's attacks. Okay, we did all that. Her visibility was completely blocked. The spirit that was kicking Rianetta like a soccer ball stopped. Instead, it made its body like a thin snake, covering Nako's face and slithering inside of her. Pechika swung her frying pan 3 times, trying to repel back the enemies, and removing Nako's blindfolded state. The demon that was kicking Rianetta was now fighting with the frying pan, its shadows beginning to scatter. Rianetta's chin straps were cut, and so her bonnet flew away, but it seems she was alive, and over there was Nako. Her eyes were wide open and her lips were tightened. From the edge of her lips, blood flowed down. From her bloodshot eyes, from her nose, all of them were bloody. She loosened her tightened lips, and a pool of blood dripped out of them as she fell on her back. The black serpent that began to slither out of the pool of blood was sliced by Rianetta's claws, dividing it into 5 parts, dispersing it into a black shadow before disappearing. Pechika activated her magical phone. Her heart was worried, impatient, confused, and she was shedding tears. Only her movements were calm. The healing medicine that she used didn't work on Nako and stayed in her magical phone. She repeated it many times, but the healing medicine didn't work. Pechika sat on a wooden floor. She scraped her knee. Blood was dripping from it. She was breathing heavily. She didn't want to understand what just happened. So Pechika just saved Rianetta. The thing killed Miyakata from the inside out. And then Rianetta was able to finish it off before it could do any more damage. So damn, this was bad. I'm worried about the other girls now. Like, imagine they get back and we see that Miyakata's dead Miyakata's dead and Rianetta's all fucked up. Imagine what happened to all the others. What the heck? Holy crap. This has been an intense half a chapter. This half a chapter from that first fight all the way to this has been more intense than probably anything else in this entire volume so far. Okay. Everything that just happened were behaviors that she's never seen before. Changing into objects wasn't too surprising, but spirits binding someone's body, spirits invading someone's body from the inside, they've never attacked that way before. Oh, that's right, the Demon Lord's castle. When they touched the demon's throne, there was a message that displayed. Didn't it say something about monsters leveling up? So this is what it meant. Pechika heard footsteps and turned her head toward them. Rionetta was walking, turning her back from Pechika and Nako. She was about to go somewhere. Pechika raised her voice, "Rionetta!" Pechika didn't know what to say from there. It was the same for Rionetta. There was nothing they could say. Nako had collapsed. Healing medicine didn't work on her, meaning she had died. Rionetta stopped her feet. Why did I? What have I done? She muttered something and began walking again. Her head was swaying. She was holding her bonnet with her right hand and supporting her right arm with the left one. Pechika simply watched. Man, that was sad. So now there is 9 left, and one of those 9 is severely, severely messed up. Because from what they said, her face is all cracked up. We know her arm is all cracked up. Man, that was rough. And now Pechika's all alone. Pechika can't be all alone. What is Pechika gonna do? I can't tell if Rionetta's the traitor. I'm suspicious of her. But I can't tell. Like, she didn't do this on her own, but I don't know. It might be her, but she's like, she doesn't want to kill people. I have no clue. Or there may be more to it. Like, we still don't know what's going on with Genocycle. That's still unexplained. But damn, that was some crazy shit. Okay, now we see Master Side Part 8. And looks like we have a couple pages of it. There's no Demon Lord Pone. Ah, is that so? There's no Demon Lord Pone. Fall. The girl tilted her neck 40 degrees and looked at Fall. It was impossible to infer Fall's emotion just by looking at him. Still, his tone of voice and repeating the same thing twice made it easy to imagine. Given the current situation, there was no room for doubt in the first place. The girl tilted her neck back. Her neck joints made a light cracking noise. It isn't really accurate to say that there is no Demon Lord, is it? The girl bent her knees on top of the swiveling chair, touching the 2 soles of her feet together. I don't remember not making a Demon Lord when I made the game. The player's clear condition is to eliminate the Demon Lord, so without a Demon Lord that'd be impossible, you see. There was no one on the throne, Pone. Who said the Demon Lord would be waiting on the throne? The Demon Lord's castle's nothing but an area name. Nobody said the Demon Lord would actually be there. Neither me nor you, Fall. The girl placed her index fingers on the desk and tapped it. She then rotated her chair around. If they can't find the Demon Lord, then it's their fault, not mine. Why would you complain to the Master about that? Sure, they didn't realize it before they reached the throne, but they know it now, don't they? I even gave them a hint on the empty throne. I play fair. I never lie. I never cheat. I'm different from her. The rotation of her chair gradually accelerated. From the outside, you wouldn't be able to tell the figure of the girl, but her voice continued calmly. On top of the table, tons of junk were piled up. Even if the chair broke, it continued to spin, making strange noises. By the way, Snow White hasn't returned yet. Without replying to the voice of the girl, Fall only stared silently. Oh, crap, now we have Snow White's side too. Cool. Okay. After Snow White returned, her movements were fast. Even if Fall didn't say it, she knew how urgent this all was. Snow White already saw the roster of the game. 2 names stood out to her in particular. If she allowed the game to continue with those 2 in them, the number of victims will increase. But if she headed directly toward them, then the other magical girls won't be able to escape. What Snow White needed to do was attack from another direction. She wanted to meet the head of the magical girl division, and through her contacts in that division, she knew how to get in contact with the head. That girl is using her magical power mostly for violence, and rewarded people for it. As long as Snow White knew that, she couldn't go against her. The head of the magical girl division was an old wizard type, recently assigned to the magical girl division. No matter how many times Snow White asked, the head never revealed any confidential information. He had high pride as a mage, not even being able to be threatened, only ending conversations by saying that they have to go by standard operating procedures. But that's not an option. She needed to get information on the Master as soon as possible. Snow White's intuition was right, and so she found a way in. Several glowing magical items surrounded them, shaped like mandalas, which lighted an otherwise dark room. There, she faced the head of the Magical Girl Division. His long robe hid his feet, and he had a long white beard. It was long and stroked with a curl, a stereotypical wizard. You need to follow standard operating procedure. Of course he'd say that. That won't do. Then there's nothing left to say. Okay, then I'll investigate without permission. Tell me the admin password to the Magical Girl Division. You think I'd just tell you that? His appearance faded and he disappeared. Snow White left the room of the Magical Girl Division. She had all the information she needed. When she asked for the password, she read the head's entire mind. He was worried that she'd find out his password, so she read the password hidden within his heart. After that, she only needed to investigate. Snow White moved in a hurry. Okay. So that's cool. And Snow White knows two of the girls from the game. I'm assuming one probably would be Akane. Unless it's two together, unless she knew Genocycle and Yan or Flea and Shadowgale. But yeah, either way, we will see how that goes. So damn, we're down to 9. We have 3 chapters left. Snow White is on the case. And that is it. So yeah, guess we'll be back next week with chapter 9. That was pretty brutal. I think the fight scene with the robots and knights was really awesome, and that scene was just so sad and rough with Miyakata and Rionetta. I really like Rionetta now. Still don't know if I trust her, but I like her. So yeah, that's it. I like all the characters, really. We can talk more, though, when in the comments and in the future and all that. So either way, like if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this week's chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that, my first reaction and all that. Subscribe for more, subscribe for more Magical Girl Raising Project, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can talk to you there, try to keep you updated there on stuff for the channel. Also, if you want, I might just go ahead and throw it down in the comments, but if you want a link to the Discord server, then I will just say something in the comments and I'll give you one. I might go ahead and post one in the comments though, but it's only going to be a one-day link, so if you need one, just say something. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.